Welcome to Rock Your Consultation. I am so glad you're here, and I'm so excited for you to start this journey of going more in depth with your consultations, understanding your clients more, and having way better outcomes, more predictable outcomes, and just having a better rapport and building more trust with your clients. So I'm going to walk you through exactly how I do my consultations. You're going to see a live consultation happening as they unfold, exactly how I do them in the salon, so you can see the behind the scenes of everything that I do. Okay, so first I start with the welcome. It's so important to welcome your guest into your environment warmly. And sometimes we forget, when we are in our own environment, we forget that we're so comfortable with it that new guests coming in can be really uncomfortable. They can be intimidated by salons. They can be anxious about going new places, about meeting new people. So I always try to be ready with a smile on my face, friendly, address them by their name. It's so important. People feel at ease when you call them by their name. So looking up, if I have a new client, looking up their name before they get in, so I can be ready to greet them as they come in and guide them where to sit. Sometimes we get so comfortable, once again, that we'll walk in front of them and turn our back to them. I always try to guide them where we're going so they feel secure. So that starts building trust with them so that they feel more comfortable with you. Hello.
Hi.
Is it Sarah?
Yes.
Nice to meet you. I'm Dawn.
Nice to meet you.
I'm so excited you're here.
Thank you. Me too.
I'm going to get you to fill out my quick/long consultation form
Perfect.
first before we get started.
Okay.
So come have a seat. Can I get you a chai tea latte?
I would love one.
Awesome.
Thank you.
The second step is I give them the consultation form and I get them to start filling it out, but I also want to start inquiring about who they are. I ask them questions that have nothing to do with their hair because I want to really get to know them as a person. I always say it's like dating someone. On the first date, you have no idea what to predict, what that person will order, how they'll react and respond. But the more you get to know someone, the more you can guess what they'd order off a menu or what kind of clothes they would buy. Same with my clients. I want to be able to know and understand them beyond just what they like for their hair, so that I can give them hair that suits them, so that I can suggest things, but I watch how they carry themselves, their body language, how they describe other things in their life other than their hair, what kind of vocabulary they use, so that I just get to know how they communicate, so that I can continue to understand them better, know them better, describe things to them better with their own words, and just keep building on that. Welcome to the salon, Sarah.
Thank you.
I'm so excited that you're here.
I am too.
Before I get into talking about your hair, I just want to know, learn a little bit more about you. So tell me a little bit, what you like to do. What are your hobbies?
Such a loaded question. Okay, well, I really enjoy makeup art, and I've been a makeup artist freelance for about 8 years or so.
Wow.
And then I've also been in, I currently work in the aesthetics industry, and I do eyebrows, so eyebrow tinting, waxing, shaping.
Cool.
And I am also a filmmaker and
Wow.
writer. And then I also do personal styling and wardrobing, and I've worked in clothing retail for over a decade. So
Wow.
that's and I love music too.
I love it.
Do
you express yourself a lot, outwardly? Is
Yeah.
the way you appear a big part of your...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because I think the common denominator across everything that I do is I am always working with people, whether it's in the form of clients or a team that report into me or leading a crew of people. It's whatever it may be, whatever industry it's in or whatever I'm working on that day, I'm always in communication with people the entire time.
Visible.
Yes. And so it's really important. And I think when it comes to clothes, hair, makeup, it's all just it's a way of communicating with people, not with words, right? You're communicating a part of your personality through how you appear. It's not in a superficial way.
Yeah.
I don't see it as superficial. It's just I really like to show my personality in all the mediums I can.
It's so funny that you say that because I always struggled with feeling like I was in a vain industry. But if I can make people feel good from the inside out, that's when I feel like my job's been done.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, me too.
Number 3, understand your client. I go through this consultation form. I don't just read it over after they give it to me. I go through it question by question with them so that I can really understand what they mean by their answers. If you've ever gotten a text from someone that you totally took the wrong way, or you assume it has a certain tone to it, and then when you talk to them, you realize, oh, they meant it completely different. Reading words, we don't always understand the emotion behind it or what someone's really trying to say. So as much as I do like them to fill out the consultation form, I don't want to just read it. I want to walk through it verbally with them so that I understand when they say one certain thing, what's behind it. With Sarah, for example, she didn't like her bangs, but a lot of it was how it made her feel. And that's really huge when it comes to hair, because a hair is an expression and an extension of who we are, and our clients have a lot of emotion attached to it. A lot of times they come in maybe wanting to do a drastic change because something's happening in their personal life. So getting to know them and understand them and going through the questions with them verbally, face to face, on their level, and making eye contact is really important. Oftentimes I'll just read their answer back to them. I'll say it in different words so that we make sure we're on the same page. Because if we don't have a clear understanding with our clients before we even start doing their hair, it doesn't matter how good you are at hair, how good of an outcome it is. If it isn't the outcome they want, if you misunderstood them, it's not a successful appointment. So I know you have the skill and talent already. Now it's time to brush up on our communication skills through this consultation and really understand the person in your chair. I'm excited you're here.
Me too.
So I'm just gonna, I know you filled this out already, but I'm just gonna go through it, each question, make sure that we understand each other and on the same page.
Yep.
Okay, so how did you hear about me? Through Steph, who is awesome.
Our mutual friend.
Yeah.
Steph.
Yeah. And then what made you decide to make an appointment here? So you really like me. That's nice. I like that.
I've been following you on social media since, I guess, I think since like 2014.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, and then I think you did my friend Jamie's hair at one point for a little, Jamie Geddes.
Oh, yeah, Jamie Geddes. Yeah. Love her.
Yeah.
Oh, what a small world.
Yeah. And like, that's back in the day when, I used to manage Kitten Ace. So there was like that whole connection as well.
We actually did meet before. I always forget that.
Yeah. And then you've also done my friend Ellen's hair, like Ellen Doty. And I've been following you, and I think I even like potentially even filled out a new client form and like was planning to come see you multiple different times, but it just schedule-wise it never aligned. And then I have so many friends who also do hair, and I would just go and see them, and it
that's
long
so
story
cool.
short, finally here I am.
It's been a long road to this point. Yeah. Well, welcome.
Thanks.
I'm glad you're here. It's so crazy how social media works too. Like so many new people that come in and see me have been following me for a couple of years, and they're like, okay, I just need to finally like make the move on it. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Okay, so are you happy with your current hairstyle and color? And you kind of put in between yes and no, which is a very common answer.
I'm like, you didn't put maybe as an option.
I love it. It's like really cut in the middle.
Yeah.
So you said it's hard to describe in writing, but I never feel like my hair color suits my skin tone. I love it. And that's why I like to go through this, not just have you fill it out, but go through it, because writing it down is kind of hard. Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about what you do love about your hair and what you don't love about it.
I love, most of the time, I love my bangs. Right now I'm a little, but I absolutely love having a fringe. There's something about when I decided to get bangs like 12 years ago, I just love the look of bangs. I've had hair all different lengths, but the length it is right now, maybe just a little bit shorter than this, is like my absolute ideal. And then just, to be honest, I really love my hair texture when I get it right, like when I get the styling right, I really love it. It's just sometimes I just, it's frizzy, and sometimes I don't. Okay. But for the most part, I think what I love is my like style length in the bangs. Like I've always had this style of hair, but when it comes to color, I have been everything.
Really?
Like I've been black, like really, 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 really dark, like red. I've been like almost like a weird like purpley color. Wow. I've been all shades of brown that exist. Mm-hmm. I've been really blonde, like it's just, it's kind of all over. And there's the the happiest I've ever been with my hair might have been sometime last year when it was just the color seemed really, really, really good and like warm and almost like a strawberry-ish blondie brown. Like it was really beautiful. And then, but it was like a window of time that felt like, and then it changed. And it was as if I wasn't in control of it because
it came and it went.
Yeah, it's funny. Like it could have came and I could have kept it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm back at a point where sometimes I feel like in certain lights it almost like looks kind of green. Like I don't always.
Well, and this lighting right now with fluorescent lights won't do it any favors for sure.
No, but
natural light's always the best, but it's tough.
Yeah. Obviously, but it. I think where I'm at now is I just love making sure I have like contrast with my features because I feel like when I go too light, it kind of just washes me right out.
I understand that.
But I like it to look like naturally like sun-kissed, and I really love the idea of blonde, but anytime I've ever done blonde everywhere, it just looks really, really bad on me.
I decided to go blonde like 3 nights before my 30th birthday because I was having a little bit of a like turning 30.
Yeah.
It's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
It just doesn't like, I always think because I'm pale, it'll look good, but it doesn't.
I couldn't, no?
No. Maybe if I got like a really like white blonde, but the warm blonde.
But that would take, oh my gosh, that would take
my hair.
it would be crazy.
I bleached my hair 3 times in one night, which is, I would never do to a client. I did it to myself and my hair was like straw. Okay, so you've liked your hair and it's been like really close, but it sounds like it's just like not quite, like it's like been, you've not minded it, but you've never really been in love with it except for that one time.
Yeah.
And then you were saying about your bangs, it's kind of been, they're a little bit hacked up right now.
Yeah. Like, and to be honest, I think that, yeah. Well, like where I went, yeah, like, I mean, like I told you, she just went at my hair with a razor. Before I could realize what was happening, I would have stopped it because I know what a razor does to my hair. Yeah. But yeah, she went into the underlayer of my bangs and razored them. So now I've just been like at the mercy of them, like just trying to grow them out. But I'm used to like having them be like pretty straight across brow arch to brow arch and then just like fanning out down. And I could not have been more clear. But when that happened, I had like that's probably the worst feeling I've ever had with regards to my hair, looking in the mirror and feeling like my heart's beating really fast. The whole salon went quiet. So everyone was listening to our conversation about it. And I just, it was like one of those moments where you're just like, I got to get out of here.
That's why I have these like longer consultations because I want to make sure that I really understand you, what you like, what you don't like, especially like because lots of times people can try and describe what they like and you can be seeing different things in your head, but knowing what you definitely don't want to is really important. And yeah, it sounds like a big miscommunication or she was rushing it. And I always say bangs should never be rushed because they frame your face.
Here's the funny thing about that experience though, what the work she had in front of her, based on what I described I wanted, would take, I think, about 3 to 4 minutes. She took half an hour to razor my bangs. She later, when we talked about it, because when I don't feel right about something, I'm very vocal about it. So when I talked about it, I said, look, what I asked of you was only going to take like 4 minutes, and you spent half an hour giving me a whole different shape. And she said, well, I thought you said you wanted curtain bangs. And I said, yeah, I already more or less have exactly what I want, and I just asked you to trim them. But she took what I said and thought I meant that I wanted them to start up here and then curtain down.
Yeah.
She thought I had a whole different idea in my head. So anyway, it was funny because, yes, I agree with you, but she didn't rush it. She took way too long.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And you know what I totally have done in the past in my career is like learned a new technique and got excited about it and then wanted to try it. Yeah, which could be
You could tell she was very excited about razor in general. She probably had just learned it and didn't realize that I think it would be great on thick hair, like really thick hair.
Yeah.
For the right person, sure, but that's just
wasn't what you wanted.
I wanted.
Totally. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know. So what's most important to you in styling your hair is ease and effortlessness. Now, I love that answer because like 95% of people that come in for consultations with me, like say like low maintenance, easy to style. And that's definitely like my type of hair. Awesome. And so the cool thing about it is like, I love that when by the time people come in to see me, they already kind of have an idea that we like already align.
Yeah.
Because I always say like, getting your hair done is an investment, but it's not just an investment for that day that it's done. It's to make sure it lasts for you day to day.
Yes.
Obviously, it might not look the same day to day when you do it yourself, but it should be fairly easy and fall into place. And a good haircut should definitely be like a lot easier to manage.
Yeah.
Same with color. Color should grow out pretty easily, depending, obviously you have a full solid color, so that's a little bit higher maintenance. But I'm 100% on board with that.
Okay, cool. And when I say effortless, I'm totally willing and I put in effort for my hair. It's just when I feel like it's requiring effort to maintain all day that I get really annoyed. But I'm okay with putting in some effort. I enjoy doing that.
I'll also tell you about some products that can really help for fine hair, because I always say if I can give you a great cut and color, but if you don't have the tools to help maintain it, that style or wearability, I'm not doing my job well either.
Okay.
How much time do you budget to do your hair on a daily basis? I love this, about 10 to 30 minutes.
Yeah, it kind of just depends.
I had someone put 90 minutes once, and I was like, daily? I was like, maybe like if you're going out, but I was like,
90 minutes?
90. So it had, I feel like it was.
I mean, she must also have a lot of hair.
And a lot of time.
Maybe.
But so like day you wash it, probably 30 minutes.
So I'm at a point right now where I almost wash my hair every day. Every so often I get a second day out of a style, and that's only if I've curled it when I've washed it and loaded it up with dry shampoo and all that, and I just don't always get a chance to. If I haven't done like a full style and like loading it up with dry shampoo and giving it a lot of texture, I'm only getting a day out of it.
Okay.
Typically.
That's kind of like my fine hair problems, right?
Fine hair problems. Yeah. It's just, and I work out and I sweat. And like every so often, especially if I'm in a rush and I just don't want to spend more time, I'll have a shower and I'll just like wash my bangs.
Yeah.
And then I'll blow dry my bangs, and that's enough. And
Perfect.
The rest can just stay. But so at most 2 days, but I never go longer than that.
And so 10 minutes is when you're like quickly recurling it or something. Cool. Yeah. I love it. Okay, so does your work and hobbies contribute to how you wear your hair? So your hair needs to be polished and styled for work. I occasionally wear it up.
Yeah.
Awesome. So wearing it up, do you wear it up just for like a daily style, or is that more for working out? Or?
Working out, but I do wear it up sometimes just because I think I like the look of it sometimes. And when I do that, I just put it in like a low bun. Mm-hmm. And I just like...
throw I like that because it needs to be polished and styled. Like you work in the clothing fashion industry as well as beauty industry. So it's really important to make sure you're looking up to par. Yeah.
Because I'm representing other business, like I'm representing my personal business. I'm representing other businesses. I just want to put like a great face forward. And that has to do with how you look as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so this is my favorite question. What has been your best and worst hair experience? So best, chopping it all off on your 30th birthday.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. How long was it?
So this was 2 years ago, and it was a really bad experience at first, and then it turned into a really good one. But my hair was probably down to like here at that time. And I volunteered for a bob class at a hair salon locally. And, the prerequisite was just you have to be willing to chop your hair off into a bob. And I was like, I'd love to do this.
Yeah.
And then we did it, but it was a brand new student. And the educator actually, unfortunately, there were so many people in the class that they weren't able to come around and do any sort of corrections. So it was a bob, but it was kind of like curved. So then a few weeks later, and I also was like, "Ooh, this length, it's really, really short, but I don't know if it's maybe just not quite the right length. Maybe we even go shorter." So I went back, and the educator of that class gave me a complimentary haircut for a few weeks later.
Oh, nice.
And we went even shorter. So it was about here.
Oh, cute.
Yeah. It was, I don't think I would go that short again.
Yeah.
Because I just prefer it long. I prefer what it does for my face and like my facial features, I think, when it's long. Mm-hmm. But talk about like a really amazing, like freeing experience turning 30 and just chopping off my hair. And it gave me like a totally different look and vibe and edge. And that summer it was so hot and I felt so good all summer because I had
off your neck.
Yeah. It was amazing. And like,
Cool.
I just loved how I could just like run my hands through it and it would just stop right there. And it was so easy to take care of once I got used to styling it. Yeah, just the feel, it just felt really, really like cool.
I love it.
I just enjoyed it a lot.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then worst, going very blonde and it looking green. So it sounds like they lightened it and tried to cancel out some of the brassiness, which it probably looked dull and muddy.
It looked so bad. And I remember, and I had moments where, you know, that whole, like, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Mm-hmm. So I would run into people and they wouldn't say anything.
They'd be like, oh, you got your hair done.
No,
Like,
nothing.
no.
Like nothing at all. And I knew that was really bad because when you do something really extreme, people talk about it.
Yeah.
And for me to go from like brown to very, very blonde and to run into someone and have them say nothing or look shocked, but still not say anything. It was just...
How long ago was that?
This was in 2013, 12, 13.
I feel like us brunettes have to try to be blonde once in our life to know that we don't like it.
And I went through like 3 sessions of getting it to like a point. So it was like blonde, and then 4 weeks later we went blonder, and then 4 weeks later we went blonder. And it was like, you know, I look at photos and I'm like, I don't even know who that is.
It's like when I made myself blonde.
It's a totally different...
Were you going through anything personally?
I mean, kind of. Like I was getting ready to move here. Mm-hmm. And
reinvent yourself?
A little bit. Like, I mean, my marriage at the time was like in real shambles. So we were moving here as almost like a Band-Aid, like an answer to like, like just a Band-Aid to maybe try and solve and figure out and you know everything. And we moved here and we bought a condo and we like tried to figure things out and all that. That was around that time. But I went back to brunette like I was blonde and then I went back to brunette by the time we moved here because I was just like, I can't. It was a lot of money. It was a lot of wasted money because I was blonde for 3 months only.
Yeah, that's how long I got divorced and then dated a guy and then we broke up and I was turning 30 and I was like, I don't know who I am anymore.
Yeah.
And I need some sort of external expression of my lostness.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I felt.
Yeah. That could have been.
Okay, so that was the worst. Okay, good.
Yeah, that was by far the worst. Although my most recent bang experience is similar.
Second bang experience.
It's funny, like you think, oh, they're just bangs. They're not just bangs.
Oh, this is the first time in my life that I haven't had bangs, but so I understand. I had always some version of bangs. Even I have such anxiety about getting my hair cut by a stylist because I just never like how it's done. Yeah. So that's what's really inspired me to do my consultations like this is because I never felt like I knew how to communicate or that the person was asking me the right questions or understanding me. Wow. So that's why I really, like I said, it takes so much time to make sure that I not only understand your answers to these questions, but this time I'm getting to like see how you explain things and understand the vocabulary you use and things like that.
Cool. That's awesome.
I always say it's like going on a date. Like when you go on a first date with someone, you have no idea what they're going to order off the menu. But by like the 5th date, you're like, they're probably going to get this.
Yes.
And sometimes they might surprise you. And that's like I'm huge on analogies. That's the same analogy for hair is like the more I know you and the more I do your hair, the more I can predict how it's going to respond. But hair is so unpredictable because it shows our internal health on the outside. Yeah. So if your diet changes or medications change or anything like that, it can change time to time. And so it can be,
interesting.
I say every time someone's in our chair, it's a new variable, which I'll get to when we get to the chemical risks.
Okay.
Okay, so things you like and dislike most about your hair. You love your bangs most of the time and don't love how fine it is. Totally fair. We are similar that way. I put hair extensions in my hair to thicken it up, but that's something we'll chat about with color. Like fine hair, oftentimes my fine hair clients bring in pictures of hair color that they really like, not realizing it's really thick hair that the color's been done on. So with our fine hair, we can't get as much like pop
Yeah.
Because it's like, if you try and get that ribbon effect, it's like a whole chunk of our hair that we don't have as much other hair to contrast it.
Oh, gotcha.
So sometimes, and that's what I've learned to explain really well too, is like the color's nice. And even if we use those colors, oftentimes you're more unconsciously attracted to the fullness of the hair color.
Yeah.
Which I will go over if we look at
Interesting.
pictures. Yeah. Perfect hairstyle, ease, textured, waves, rock and roll looking. I love it. You posted on your Instagram story yesterday that you're having a good hair day.
And
it looks so good.
That was just like, okay, that was second day hair for one thing.
Yeah.
I had just washed my bangs yesterday morning. But other than that, that was second day hair. And I had put in this like dry shampoo spray by a brand called R & Co.
Oh yeah, I've heard good things.
Oh my gosh. And this spray, so I like had sprayed it all over and then just let it kind of sit for like a minute. And then I just like ran my hands like through it. And then that was the end result. And I was like, oh. And that it's just, I haven't had a day like that in a long time where I was like, oh my God, my hair.
This needs to be documented. Yeah. I love it. Oh, so good.
Exactly.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
And that's very much my style. Like, I don't like manufactured, really perfect looking things. I like organic. Like,
yes, same.
Even if you've done your hair, it looks like it just happened. So I always say I'm more of a red carpet stylist than a fashion runway. In that example, like the Grammys, the Oscars, their hair looks really effortless and flowy and a little bit almost undone, but you can tell it's been done.
Yes.
Where like fashion runways, it's like more avant-garde, more constructed. That's less of my style. So I always like when I see this in consultations, knowing that, okay, yes, we're gonna align well on style. Okay, so approximately how many weeks ago did you receive your last hair service, cut in or color? So
that was I think it was about a month. I have it in my calendar for reference, but
for color,
that was a root touch up,
okay,
and the bang trim. But I actually haven't like cut my hair in a very long time.
Okay,
probably a couple months because I've been growing it out still since like that really short time. And I like maintained it short for about a year. You really notice how quickly your hair grows when you have it really short. My goodness, it grows fast. And then over the last like several months, I've just been letting it grow. I think it might be time for a trim pretty soon because I'm feeling like it's a little long,
and getting like scraggly feeling.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the past 2 years, how many chemical services have you had performed on your hair? Now, the reason I ask this is just because lots of times you can get color buildup. It helps me. I always tell my clients, the more honest you are with me, because sometimes people want to like not say that they've had stuff done, but the more honest and the more I know what's been done, the more I can have better predictions on how your hair's outcome is going to be. So sometimes, so every 6 weeks or so, that's been roots. How often have you had highlights?
Like super low, super rare. I'm just trying to think when the last time. It might have been like anywhere from about 4 to 6 months ago, maybe 6 months ago.
Okay.
And it was not even that many highlights. The reason why right now my ends look significantly lighter is when I went for the first root touch-up I did at the more recent place that I have been going to, which would have been like maybe 3 months ago. I was just like, what would you guys do?
Right.
I just was wanting to know. And the stylist asked if I'd be willing to go deeper in my root just because she felt like, because it was all this color.
Yeah, I like the darker.
And so she just felt like it gave more contrast and just looked richer. And we had the idea of maybe doing some balayage or hair painting eventually. Mm-hmm. And so, but I didn't have an appointment booked for that. We had just booked in for a root touch-up, but they wanted to go darker so that it gave like a natural looking balayage already, even without doing highlights. Yeah. And last time I probably got highlights, I would say, maybe 6 months ago, maybe even 8 months ago.
Okay. And then every like 6 to 8 months-ish for the past 2 years, or just that one time?
Oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember.
So the reason why I asked that, as you remember, is because I've had clients before where they're like, yep, I don't have any highlights on my hair. And what's happened is they got highlights done and then they went dark. And their understanding of it was once you put dark over top of highlights, they're gone. But the thing is that damage, because essentially coloring your hair in any way, shape, or form is damaging.
Yes.
But lightening it is always a bit more damaging.
Yes.
And so because I didn't clarify properly with her and she didn't know to clarify because she hadn't been educated, when I put highlights on, I went in a little bit more aggressive, assuming that there was no previous damage.
Oh.
And so I just like to know how much lightener has been on your hair. But it sounds like in the last 2 years, if it's only probably been once, I say the reason why I get 2 years is your hair grows about 6 inches a year. So most people hair isn't a lot longer than 12 inches, or, you know, if it was quite a bit longer, I'd ask the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, because when I chopped it all off, we cut off a ton of damage because I had gone so much lighter.
Yeah.
And then as it grew out, I went from very, very, very dark to quite light over the last like few years. So I would say, I think right now I'm just trying to remember like the timeline, but it's definitely been highlighted at least 3 times.
Okay.
At least, but I can't quite remember like exactly the time. If I went onto my iPhone calendar, I could like track
you have to
the
give me
dates.
Exact dates. No.
But I know because I was very dark, like I was about the shade of
Dark
your
as
hair.
mine. Okay.
And we got it to like this lighter
Nice.
like part, and it went there very, very well. Like my hair feels like it's pretty healthy.
Good.
To me, like I've always been told that by hairstylists that it seems like it's in really good shape.
Good, because fine hair can get damaged so easily.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. That's great to know. Okay, so now I specialize in freehand hair painting.
Yes.
You said that you have had balayage done before. So there's so many different techniques out there to create similar looks. So I'm just going to walk you through why I do the one I do and how it works. So the way I use clay lightener, which is like a thicker lightener, and I don't put it in a foil. So what I tell people is like using a foil is like it creates a little heat pocket. So it's kind of like an oven, where I say hair painting without the foils is like a slow cooker. And when you think of the results that you get for your food, how it's different, like I don't say foils are bad by any means.
Yeah.
I just choose not to use them. But the potential of overcooking your food in the oven is greater of overcooking it and drying it out in the slow cooker.
Absolutely.
So the way I do hair painting, it can be a little bit longer of a process sometimes, depending on how much lift we're gonna get, because obviously a slow cooker takes longer, and it's like I don't know what kind of example. I was going to say like the tortoise and the hare. Slow and steady wins the race.
Yep.
And sometimes it takes me a couple appointments to get the same results as you could get in one appointment with foils.
I see.
But my clients that I've been doing since moving to Calgary 4 years ago, and my clients that I've converted to hair painting, they say their hair feels fuller and thicker because they don't have as much damage. Even if they didn't know they were having breakage or damage, it's just like a more... Like if you think of your food being like juicier and more flavorful, I kind of compare that to hair painting.
Very cool.
The other cool thing is if you've ever had highlights where you see the line growing out, that's what foils can create.
Yes.
And so I actually create that graduation of color on the strand of your hair with the hair painting. So it's there's lots of different ways to make that look, and some people will foil and then kind of blend with toners, but eventually they fade out. Where this form of hair painting, it just slips down your head of hair and can just look like the sun did it naturally.
Yes.
So the example I use is like a little blonde kid in the summer when the fall comes and it looks like they're getting roots, but you don't see a line. It's just like, it's all brighter. That's kind of how I try to mimic it.
Yeah. Cool.
So that very like
That sounds
organic,
amazing.
raw, still get some pop and some like obviously colored, but for people's eye not to be drawn to like a line. That's the thing. Like when someone gets fresh highlights and you're like, all you see is like their scalp.
That doesn't look good.
I want there to be like no really big clear beginning or end or where it happens, but all of a sudden you see it, so your eye is attracted to the whole person rather than to like a point.
Cool.
Most of my clients, they say like people won't even be able to tell that they got their hair done, but they'll be like, you look really good, or you like look really well rested, or you look kind of tanned, or things like that.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's kind of why I
awesome.
choose this form of hair painting. There's so many different ways to get similar looks, but this is what really works for me and what gets me the best results.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Amazing.
What do you want to make sure you walk away with? A beautiful tone that makes my skin and eyes glow and doesn't compete with my color. I love that because I always tell people sometimes if they don't have the right tones in their hair, they can be washing themselves out. They can be making themselves look sick.
It just looks...
And I'll make subtle shifts
bad.
in colors and like have I always say there's like a supporting actress and like the lead actress of hair color, where you want one of your colors to be really like what people notice, but then like the supporting color needs to mesh with it. It needs to be complementary to it. And lots of times I see people scared to do things, but I let them know if this is going to actually make this color stand out more.
Yeah.
This is going to make this one shine. So I couldn't agree more with you on that. And lots of times I make subtle shifts in tones. I'll always communicate that with you and give suggestions and why. But you were saying earlier how you like warm tones, and I agree. I can see like warm tones totally being like brightening you up right now.
Yeah, I think warm I feel like a goddess when I have warm tones in my hair, and when I've ever had more like cool or ashy tones, I feel like I look sick. Like all the time. Like I've never had I don't know if it's that it's not been the right tone, but it just washes me out. It kind of just feels a bit blah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I get that. Yep. And I agree, just looking at you, like warm tones. Like we're very opposites, where like cooler tones I feel better in. Yeah. And when I put warm tones, I feel like it makes my skin look really red and blotchy.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Crazy, hey? Look, and like I'm not the whole winter, summer, spring thing. You know how people do that?
Totally.
But I feel like there's like something to that.
Absolutely there is.
Yeah. Well, you do makeup, so you know.
There is, for sure. I only wear warm tones of makeup as well as clothing as well. If I wear like cool toned eyeshadow, I don't look well.
Yeah.
Whereas I would only use cool toned eyeshadow on you. I would never think to use like a really warm, like really, really like warm orange on your eyes. But I wear like orange eyeshadow. And
cool.
Yeah.
And it takes training your eye to be able to like look at someone and know.
Yes.
So I already like looking at your hair, like the ends, like they are warmish, but I feel like they are a little matte. Yeah. And so brightening them up and making them more sunshiny looking.
Yes.
Would be cool.
Yes. Totally agree.
Okay. Is there anything you want to make sure I don't do to your hair? So this is a really important question to me, because like I was saying earlier, it's really easy to say what you want, but if we aren't on the same level, if I know what you don't want, then I can for sure avoid that.
Right.
Because I would rather not that I want you to be like okay with your hair, but I would rather avoid like absolutely nots than like accidentally, like even if it's like the smallest thing, like putting a razor on your bangs. You know, if I learn like don't put razor on your bangs, then I know for sure steer clear of that. Yeah. So you put too light, love it, not enough contrast between face and hair, and too cool and ashy, which is all things we've covered already, which I completely agree with for your hair.
And when I've had any sort of balayage or hair painting in the past, sometimes they've started too high. And then when it starts too high, they've even brought it into my bangs, and it doesn't even look like balayage. It just looks like I went lighter overall. So that's the only other thing too, I would say, like starting it below my bangs so that my bangs are not hair paint.
That's so funny that you say that, because I was going to get into that. So with bangs and balayage, I always say if you're going to maintain the look of being a brunette, you have to have the balayage lower than your bangs, because your bangs tell what color like you want to look. Yes. And so when people are like, because I have clients asking me to like hair paint their bangs, and I'm like, well, this is the thing. If we start doing that, then that's going to make you look like you're trying to be overall lighter. Yeah. And even though warm tones look good in your ends, having like a really warm, lighter tone here can totally wash you out. Yes. Because it makes you look like you're all over colors that way. Yeah. So I like how your bangs like come down onto your cheekbones. I would say like maybe like tipping out just that to kind of blend it. Yeah. But you would have a lot lower color because of your bangs. Yeah. And so that's always, I always say I'm the bearer of bad news sometimes for clients that like bring in a picture of someone with a long bang, and they love how like high up it is. Like say with my hair, like they see a highlight kind of coming here, but they come in with your bangs, and I have to tell them like, unfortunately, it won't look the same. You won't get the same effect.
No, yeah. It's hard with photos.
Yeah,
when it comes
and I
to
crush
clients.
people's hair dreams all the time, but
like,
I always tell them, how many times has someone said yes to your request and not delivered on it? And so like going back to the whole communication thing, like I used to be like, yes, yes, yes. And then I'd go to the back room and mix up a color and be like, I don't know how I'm going to give this person this. So I'd rather be really honest and frank about what I think is achievable, what I think works, and also say no to the things that even if another hairstylist might say yes to, I tell people to be wary of, because some people will say yes to win you over in the consultation. Yeah. I say no in the consultation so I can win you over with the end result. Yeah. That was a really good line. We're going to use that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's so good. I could even,
As I was saying, I was like,
as you were
yes.
saying it, I could see your brain being like, this is so good.
Yeah, I was like, damn it. Yes. I've never even used that before, but that's going to go in
Amazing.
but it's so true where like I take longer in the beginning so that we can have a higher success rate, because I don't want to
Right.
be your like one and done hairstylist. It's kind of like dating someone. Like if you just keep going on first dates all the time, you never
Yeah.
get to know someone and develop a relationship. I'm like the long-term goal person. I don't want to band-aid fix your hair, because it's really easy to like quickly do something that's going to make it look good today, but maybe never reach where you want to go. Yeah. And so I'll always give you options. I always give all my clients options of like, this could be a quick fix if you're struggling with something. But if you're really wanting to get to here, it might mean going through an uncomfortable process. It's kind of like working out. Like if you want to be super buff, it means you have to like be dedicated. You have to be uncomfortable. Your muscles are going to be sore, but you'll get the results. But if you just want to like, this is such a terrible analogy, get fit really quick, take a bunch of steroids and crash diet and things like that, which aren't sustainable usually.
Right.
And not like, I'm in it for the long term for you.
Right.
So cool. Okay, so when you envision leaving your first appointment, how do you want to feel? Confident and like I'm walking to a hair commercial.
Yeah.
I love it. That's my goal, is like effortless, beautiful hair that makes you as a person feel better.
Yeah.
And that just suits who you are. And that's another thing why I like to meet and hang out. So I get a sense of your personality, because the more, like the whole dating thing, the more I get to know how you position yourself, how you carry yourself can really tell me a lot of how I can do your hair to suit you. Mm-hmm. And that was my biggest thing I learned when I first moved to Calgary, is I thought I was really good at what I did. And I realized skills and talent are one thing, but I need to understand you and who you are. Because when I had clients for 10 years, I could understand when someone said funky. I knew them so well that funky was like a little bit of texture, because she was super conservative.
Right.
But then another person was like funky, meant like shaving half
Like a
their head.
mohawk.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, write down any questions you may have for me about your hair. So if given complete free range, what would you want to do to my hair, and does it seem aligned with what I want?
Yeah. And to elaborate on this question, because you're the artist, I do really love and respect, like, you know, if I came in and this is totally counterintuitive, because this is like the opposite of a consultation. But if I, you know, potentially was just like, you can just do whatever you want with my hair, anything, and I don't have any opinions, and like I was maybe even just in theoretically like a model, and you could do whatever you wanted. Mm-hmm. I was just curious, what would you do?
Can I put into there, because I know who you are? Like for me, it's like not even just about the hair, because I could do so many different things to your hair.
Of course.
But no, for me, it's like what I would do, because I know a bit of who you are and what you're like. It wouldn't change dramatically. It wouldn't be, I like the dark. I think I'd break up the color on the ends, because right now it's looking a little bit more ombre.
Yeah.
Then I would try to get a little bit more pop. The only struggle with that is because you have fine hair. I know that trying to get those pops of color are a bit harder, because around our ears we don't have a lot of hair. So to try and get high contrast is tough, because you just can't get as much hair in there. Yeah. If I could do anything, I would add in some extensions to create some more fullness. Yeah. And so that when we highlight pieces, they have a little bit more pop and a little bit more dark. Because for me, highlighting someone who wants to maintain looking like a brunette means highlighting less than 50% of your hair. Yeah. Because you need to be mostly dark, and that can get tricky. But I'd like the dark. Yeah, I really, really like it. It has some like richness to it. It's not too dark. It's not washing you out. I would maybe add a touch more like reddy warmth undertones to your highlights on the ends. Yeah. And not red as in fire engine red, but just like a hint of like more auburn. Yeah. And then I would pull some dark through your ends. Yeah. Cool. Does that make sense? Yeah. And like tons of shine.
Yeah, totally. Awesome.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah. That sounds awesome.
And then I would clean up your bangs. And looking at your bangs right now, there are some really short pieces still. They must have been very short.
They were so short. They were so I'll show you a photo. Okay. It's insane. Like, I did not know what to do with myself. And I was like, there's nothing I can do now but wait. Like, she is
and that's the thing, and that's why I say, like, I'm like the long-term fix and not the Band-Aid fix. And like, it'd be easy to give you like cute baby bangs, which I don't think you should do.
Or you could like pull more in, but I don't want you to, because that's going to get rid of the body of hair.
You need this hair here. Yeah. So what I could do is like clean them up, but there's going to be that whole process of growing out what's there. And so I always say, as a hairstylist,
yes, and like the reality is like this has already been a month of growth. So like you can imagine how. And I already had a friend of mine who's a hairstylist, and she works right next door to Laura Browse at the Beverly Salon.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I went to her about a few weeks after, and she just like trimmed up a little bit over top so that not like pulled forward, but just evened it out because it was actually already so uneven, like it was really jagged.
Yeah.
And so now it's been a few weeks since then, so they're growing quite like they're insane.
Well, and I always compare it to like as an artist, because I'm creating art on your hair, like painters get a white canvas to start with. So they like have the ideal situation where we have people coming in that have like torn up canvases with like all these different weird colors and layers. And or it's like even like people who go into houses and do renos and are like, it'll be easy. And then once you pull back some of the layers of the wallpaper, you realize like there's 10 layers of wallpaper, or like, oh, the plumbing is terrible in this place. Same with hair. It's like once I get in there and start seeing it, it might be a different story. Also, same with coloring hair. I always tell people like I always have to wait for your hair to tell me what it's going to do.
Yeah.
So I can't promise any result ever, which terrifies people. And I've had people in my chair be like, should I go somewhere else? And I'm like, no, this should be, I wish it was an industry standard to let people know that like I can have the best chemistry equation for all my hair color, but you're the variable, and how how your hair reacts is an important piece to that whole thing. Absolutely. And which I can't predict ever.
I completely understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 4, risks, warnings, and waivers. So important to go over. This is something that I didn't talk about in my career for many years, and it wasn't until I had a really unfun situation that I realized the importance of talking over the risks, the warnings of chemical services, and getting them to sign off on a waiver. It's not to freak my clients out or have them doubting my abilities. I used to feel that way, but I want to set them up for success. So I want to go over the risks of chemical services. I let every new client know that there is no guarantee when it comes to chemical services. Now, I've had one client ask, should I just go somewhere else if this is too much risk? And I let her know, unfortunately, this risk exists no matter where you go. It's just not an industry standard to let you know as a customer. And I really wish, and it's my passion, to get this to become an industry standard, because it takes a lot of pressure off of us as a stylist. Letting our clients know that their medication, their diet, internal health all comes out on your hair, skin, and nails. So I can be the best at what I do. I can have all the chemicals, hair colors set up perfectly how they should react, but each person in my chair is a variable. And I like to use the example of a high school chemistry experiment. If you remember, you change something ever so slightly and the outcome would be completely different. So I let my clients know the first time I do your hair, I have to just start doing it and see how it reacts and responds. My hope is best case scenario, but I do want you to be aware of worst case scenario. I also want you to know that each time you're in, I'm going to better understand your hair and how it reacts and responds. But your health, internal health is changing. You may get new medications, your diet may change, and these things can factor time to time. So even though I get to know your hair and predict the outcome better each time, there's no way for me to know for sure. And I used an example with Sarah, letting her know that I had a client once that I did the same color on for 10 years, and one day it just went a different color. And the only solution we could think about without sending her off to a lab to get tested was that she had been put on a new arthritis medication. So it's little things like that that I want to cover my ass before I even get into their hair, so that they don't feel like I'm backpedaling, that I'm not doing my job properly, that I messed up somehow, because I always will own it when I mess up. But I want them to have confidence in me that I'm going to do the best I can with their hair, but I have to wait to see what their hair tells me. I have to know how their hair is going to respond, and I have to then recalibrate if something starts going differently than what I predict. So I really like to set the bar low, give them best case scenario, give them worst case scenario, and let them know that my goal is to get you best case scenario, but I just have to see what your hair is willing to do for me. Okay, so just onto, this is like the really unfun part. Chemical services, there are risks involved. Of course, so genetics, medications, hormones, and your overall health. Basically what I was just saying, the more I know you, the more I can better predict what your hair is going to do. But I had a client that I did her hair for 10 years, the same color, and then one time it just like went a different color, and we were trying to figure it out. The only thing we could guess is that it was a new medication, and so your medication comes out in your hair, skin, and nails. And so I just like to go through this, and it freaks my clients out all the time because oftentimes the hairdresser's never gone through this with them.
Never.
Yeah. And it honestly, it helps me cover my butt because I never want you to think I'm backpedaling at the sink, or, you know, so many in the beginning of my career, I would bank on best case scenario. And then when it didn't happen, I felt like the client, I didn't let them know about worst case scenario. Yeah. And so they thought I hadn't done my job properly. So I like to let you know upfront and in advance that I'm going to do my best to get you what you want and what I think is achievable. But I'll also prepare you for the fact that like there's no way for me to know. Okay. But the more I can, and there's no there's never an expectation or obligation to continue to see me, but I always do tell people the more you stick with a person, the more they understand and know your hair and know it's been put on it. Because even different color lines can do different things in your hair. And so you can have essentially the same color, but different color lines. And then if you go to lift it, it can have like weird bands in it.
By lines, do you mean brands, like companies?
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Because I've had Redken is probably the majority of the color that I've had in my hair, but I had a stint, probably about a year's worth of Aveda.
Oh, and you know what? I find Redken and Aveda both lift out of the hair really well.
Okay, cool.
Plug for them.
Yeah, great.
So I also say, like I said, previously chemical services, and then well water, hard water, and copper pipes can cause heat reactions. Now, this has been the most terrifying thing that ever happened in my life. January 30th, 2016.
Oh, God.
I'll never forget. I was doing this girl's hair. I had done it once. It was in this chair. And within 10 minutes of having hair painting on her hair, it started crackling. And we were like joking about something. And she's like, it's getting really hot in here. And I was like, right? Because we're like talking about something racy. She's like, no, like my neck's sweating. And so I leaned forward and I felt like I was standing in front of a fire. I could like feel this like heat like coming off, and it was crackling. And so I immediately took her to the sink, rinsed it. It was palest yellow, like it had been sitting on her hair forever. Hair painting, like I said, is like a slow cooker. It's way less aggressive. Thank God that it was hair painting. So I freaked out. I brought her back to the chair and I combed it, and it broke off like a chunk in her nape. And my stomach flipped. And because one, I couldn't figure out what went wrong. And I took it on as completely my responsibility. Like I went way overboard and like paid for extensions for her hair, treatments, had complete imposter syndrome. If you've ever heard of that, we're thinking I should like quit my job. Like I really took it on. I took responsibility for it because it happened on my watch, which I think was proper. Yeah. But there was no way for me to know that was going to happen. But that's when I instated this, because once in 18 years is enough for me to ever have to experience that. I had seen a coworker have something similar happen, where 2 foils were like, it like burnt her hand when she touched them. Wow. So it's just one of those things that like, without having to spend the money to send it off to a lab and figure out what's in your hair, oftentimes well water has a lot of hard minerals. When you think of like metals and bleach connecting, that's not good. Yeah. So like hard water on farms have lots of iron, and then copper pipes in old buildings carry minerals through it. Yeah. So those are so if those are something that you live with, it's good to like clarify shampoo your hair before a chemical service. And like I said, now I keep a really close eye. If ever gets hot or crackly, you let me know as soon as possible. And I always tell people I factor in a little insurance time into my appointments, so that especially the first appointment you have with me, because I want to make sure that if something does happen that I didn't predict, or that's not best case scenario, I want to be able to at least do something so you can leave feeling somewhat good. Maybe not with your desired result, but I want to be able to have a little of insurance room for that. Yep. And then other variables, just basically, I always say, like when I had laser eye surgery done, I had to sign off on a chance I could go blind. Mm-hmm. And I was like, excuse me, like, what? Yeah. And they're like, it's minimal, but the risk exists. So we need to present it. So I always say, like, it's not that if these things were a high enough percentage, people wouldn't color their hair. Of course. People wouldn't have surgery. People wouldn't do lots of things. But it's a low enough percentage that most of the time, like 9 times out of 10, we're going to be fine. Totally. But I need to cover my ass, and I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't let you know that there are risks involved. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I mean, I've been coloring and doing things to my hair for, decades. Yeah. So if it wasn't a risk, I guess I just know that the chances are very, very low. Yeah. Yeah. The other thing I say too, like I've had clients, and I don't expect this with your hair, but sometimes blondes will be like, oh, my hair's super strong. Like no one's ever broke it off. I use the example of like trying to open a jar.
And if someone like can't get it open, but by the 10th person, they're like, that was really easy.
Yes.
I don't want to be the person that was
Absolutely.
like, oh, I broke off all your hair because it
Because of-
withstood all of this stuff.
Yeah, right.
So basically, there is no guarantee when performing a chemical service. That's not to freak you out. That's just to make sure that you're educated on what we're doing. Number 5, do your due diligence. Home hair care maintenance, cancellation policy. These are really important things to go over with your clients so that they understand. Oftentimes, we have been in this industry for so long, it's second nature to us. But our clients don't always know that sometimes drugstore shampoos can be really high in detergents that can strip their color out. The last thing I want for you is to do an amazing color on someone and then have them come back in a couple weeks saying it completely faded, for you to only find out, well, they were using really high detergent shampoos that shouldn't have been used on colored hair. So I always let my clients know that it's really, really important what kind of shampoo you're using at home. It's so that you're investing in your hair today to get it done. It's really important that you continue that investment so that your hair is good for a longer period of time. Because it's great to leave the salon today with awesome hair, but what you're paying for is hair beyond today as well. So I give my clients a discount the first time they're in so that if they don't have professional product, that they can at least go home with some and try it out. It's a great way to get people hooked on the product line you carry. I let my clients know there's many product lines out there that are great and awesome. I choose to carry this one because XYZ, but letting them know it's really important that you use professional products. So even if you don't get it from me today, do get it from somewhere, but I'm offering you this 30% off discount today so that you can try something pretty hassle-free. It gets them trusting you. You're not just trying to make a quick buck off of them, but it also gets them to try a product that they could end up loving and continue buying from you. Also, going through the cancellation policy is so important. A lot of this makes us feel really uneasy and uncomfortable because we don't like to talk about, the repercussions of not showing up. But I find my clients have to actually initial beside every part of the consultation form, which you'll see when you download the template, so that they are accountable to it. So they have to initial that they've read my cancellation policy. I also go through it verbally with them so that I can refer back to this conversation if ever something was to happen. I say this is just my insurance so that I make sure we're on the same page because I want to be able to give you a high level of service. I want you to be able to book in with me with ease. And when people no-show or cancel last minute, that can affect my entire business. And it gets them understanding, especially if they're not in the service industry, they don't always understand that when they don't show up, it affects our bottom line. Okay, home hair care maintenance. So you've probably heard this before from hairstylists, but you're investing in your hair to get it colored. It's really important that you're using the proper products to maintain it at home, especially if you're coloring it, like color safe products. And so I carry a certain line here, but it's not that I think it's the only line. It's just I align with the line's values. Yeah. But I always say that it's really important to be using professional grade product because unprofessional stuff can strip your color out. Yeah. It can build up in your hair, which build up can then go back to the risks, do all that stuff. And I want to make it as easy as possible for you if you don't have professional product at home already to be able to invest in that. So I give 30% off any product you might want at your first appointment. It sounds like you already use professional product at home is what you were describing.
For the most part, I've been like all over the map. I try different hair product all the time because I'm always curious what works, what doesn't work, and I want to just keep trying new things. And I most recently started using, it's called Sisters. It's from Brooklyn, and it's completely all natural.
Whoa.
It's like vinegar. I mean, it's so natural, like apple cider vinegar, and like I couldn't even tell you. I can't remember everything in it, but it's really nice. It just doesn't work as well as some of the more pro lines I've used before. But I've noticed you have Moroccan oil, and I actually love the smell of that so much.
Smell good.
Haven't used it in a long time, but
to be honest, I actually don't use it. Sarah uses it, works out of here. But
cool.
like since she's been here, and I'm like, I forgot the smell of this stuff because I used to use it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I believe in like using proper hair care. Yes.
Especially with like sulfates and lots of...
It's so bad. It's so bad for you.
Lots of the drugstore stuff has really high detergents in it as well.
Yeah. Not just bad for your hair, it's bad for your body. It's bad for you to even inhale the fragrance of it. It's really, really bad.
Okay, so cancellation policy. This is tends to be the most uncomfortable for a lot of hairstylists to talk about. You're in the service industry as well, so you'll understand this.
Yep.
But I like to go through this just so that we make sure that, yes, you've read it, but also we have a mutual understanding of expectations moving forward. So I just say, I understand that special circumstances are unavoidable and a cancellation may be necessary. I do request 24 hours notice. So before 24 hours, you can cancel online. Because I'm a small space and I do have a part-time worker, we're not always in the salon. So online cancellations is what we accept before the 24 hours. After 24 hours, like at 23 hours, you won't be able to cancel online. And I ask you either call if we're not here, that you email so we have a timestamp. The sooner the possible so that I can try and fill that appointment. But if a cancellation comes in under 24 hours, you're subject to a charge up to the full price, not always the full price. But if I can fill that spot, even better, because I know stuff happens.
Yeah.
If you don't show up at all, which also failure to show includes more than 15 minutes late, then you will be charged for the full service. Now, if you can call us and you're like, I'm on my way, things are happening, and there's some way I can accommodate you if you're going to be more than 15 minutes, I obviously will. It's not that I want to be like, you're over 15 minutes late, get out.
Yeah.
If I can do some part of your service, I will, but I never want to rush and compromise your outcome to squeeze you into something. Yeah. So I am a little bit tough love when it comes to that for your own good, because I've squeezed people in the past and then they're unhappy with their hair and then I didn't communicate clearly enough with them and I'm frustrated that they're coming back for a fix when I did all I could, but I didn't tell them I couldn't give them what they wanted.
Yeah.
So that's there. And then, over 24 hours, no charge. And that just keeps my availability open for more people, gives me to be able to give a better service.
Totally.
Understand. Perfect. I love when I talk to people who are in the service industry.
It's like, oh yeah.
Totally. Time is money, right?
Yes, completely.
At the end of the consultation form, you'll see I have first appointment, expectations, and desired results. I really want to make sure that I am communicating very clearly and in writing with my clients that I understand what their final outcome they want, and then I'm also communicating whether or not that's achievable in one appointment. So end desired results, I'll write jot notes in of what they want and make sure that we're on the same page, and then I'll say today this is what we can expect. Oftentimes, if I think it's achievable in one appointment, I will say, which you'll see with Sarah, is I'll say, I think this is definitely achievable in one appointment, besides the whole risk factor. So reminding them again that these risks exist, I have to see what her hair does, but best case scenario, I think it shouldn't be a problem to get you where you want to go today. You'll also see a quote section. I like to be really clear about money ahead of time. I used to avoid talking about money in the beginning because it was uncomfortable. But the thing is that anxiety just grows throughout the appointment, knowing that the end of the appointment's coming nearer and I'm gonna have to talk to them about money. They're gonna have to pay me. So I push through that discomfort in the beginning to get it out of the way so that we're on the same page. So I'm not feeling uncomfortable throughout their appointment thinking, oh goodness, I don't know, I'm gonna have to charge them more. I don't know if they're expecting to pay this much. You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? So I get it out in the open in the beginning. I'll often quote within a range. So I'll say, best case scenario, once again, I can get your hair done for this. But if we come into any obstacles or speed bumps that I'm not expecting that might take a little bit more work, a little bit more product, then this is the higher end of your price range. I also like to try to quote high because who doesn't love having to pay less than what you quoted them? So usually, because we don't like talking about money and we'll often undercharge, I'll add on some money to what I think the high end is so that I have a buffer room. So not so that I can gouge them, I'm not about being unintegral, but so that I can hopefully come in under quote for them and they be thrilled. I can make them happy and they'll want to keep coming back. But give yourself that buffer room in a quote because for me, integrity is huge. And once I give someone a quote, I do not want to go above it. So I will lose money because I don't want to break down that trust factor with my client. People, once the trust is gone, and so many of my new clients come to me because trust has been broken, they've been surprised at the till by their price jumping around, but they're getting the same service every time. I want to be really clear and have them understand what they can expect to pay before I even get doing their hair. So the last part I just like to go through is your end desired results. And so what you really, really hope for if we're doing any sort of big change. And then I write out first appointment expectations. Mm-hmm. This is just because lots of times what people want isn't always achievable in one appointment.
Right.
So it doesn't sound like you're wanting a huge dramatic change.
No.
And desired results is like more warmth.
Yeah. And like when you described like, what did you describe? Something about like, when you said, you were talking about the color and you were like sunlight. You used the word sunlight.
Oh, like sunshiny.
Yeah, sunshiny is what you.
It's one of my favorite words to describe.
I love that
like
word.
Gold.
Yes, I love that, and I. It sounds to me like that would be potentially achievable in like one appointment, maybe two.
Yeah, like kind of what I
Ish.
picture is like going through and highlighting a few bits of your hair so they're a little bit lighter, and then pulling the dark down so there's a bit more contrast going on in your hair. Because I feel like I love this dark up here, and then it kind of just goes into like an in-between mid-tone that's not really doing anything for you.
I totally agree. I've never been able to articulate it. But and when you used the word ombre earlier, I was like, oh my God. That's exactly what my hair is right now.
Yeah.
And that was such a big trend like
5 years ago.
5 years ago. My hair is like 5 years old.
No, you're good. So more contrast.
My hair is so 2014.
Yeah, because I want to look like, I want it, in my opinion, I want it to look like your hair has highlights in it, not that it's just lighter on the ends.
Yes.
So more contrast.
Right, exactly.
Look like separation of highlights. Mm-hmm. And that's just contrast. And that's where the fine hair can like be our worst enemy for it.
Okay.
But what we'll do is we'll do it and you'll see if you like it. And then if you're like want to chat about like partial extensions or things like that, we can always talk about that.
You do that?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that you actually like, I thought that would mean that I would have to go and get that done and then come back.
Oh no. So I work with Great Lengths exclusively. I love them because they're like literally I'll show you one extension. You can feel it. Like feel it up here.
Oh.
And so you can just put them in the sides over your ears.
Oh. How many would you say you have?
I have 1.5 bundles. So they come in bundles of 25 and then I cut them in half so you get 50 pieces. So if you ordered one bundle, we could probably get 2 installations out of it. It's still not inexpensive. This type, you can't reuse the hair, but they can stay in your hair anywhere from 3 to 6 months.
And you can wash your hair like normal?
I don't have natural curl in my hair or wave at all. This is all the extension. So I just like let it air dry.
But when you wash it, it's not like
you can't run your fingers through your hair the same way, but yeah, we'll chat about them more.
Yeah.
Okay, so first appointment expectations. I always say besides the risks of where I was saying like, something going wrong or your hair like it doesn't look like it'll be stubborn, but once again,
you never know.
I never know. So I think we should be able to get your hair into a really good place the first time. So besides the risks of chemical services and finding out how your hair is going to react, I don't expect it to be more than one appointment. That being said, it could.
Yeah.
But I don't expect it to.
Yeah.
So as for price quote, I don't think we need to do a big double process or big transformation. It's not going to take a lot of time. I think it's a subtle shift that's going to be quite easily done in one process.
God, I can't wait. I wish we could do it.
I know.
So, like today, because I'm like, I don't want this now.
I know. I'll just make you wait. That's like part of my tactic.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I'm not actually going on vacation. Yeah. So at the end of the consultation, I get them to sign, making sure that they understand and agree to what we're going to do so that everything's clear. They sign it once I've verbally gone through it with them. So I'm like, do you feel comfortable moving forward? Would you like me to be your hairstylist? And then they sign and we can get moving forward. I can get my hands in their hair. I can start talking to them about hair, see pictures and that sort of thing. Okay, so I just get you to sign this to make sure that you understand everything we talked about. You also initialed it so that it was thorough. But if you feel comfortable moving forward and moving ahead, we can chat more about that.
I have a very loopy signature.
Awesome. So the one little extra bonus I like to do that doesn't happen at the consultation, I have consultations separate to the time of their first appointment, but if you're doing a consultation at the first appointment, I have a new client gift bag. So I put goodies that are often locally made that have nothing to do with hair in a little goodie bag to make them feel special. I give them a personalized card that says, "Thank you for choosing me as your hairstylist. I'm honored to be able to get to do your hair." It's a great way, a little surprise, and a great way to make your clients feel cared for, appreciated, and get them talking and excited to come back next time. So I'll show you quickly a quick picture of my bag and what's in it and how it makes them feel special after their first appointment with you. Awesome. Well, make sure that you take some candy with you when you leave.
Would love.
And I have a little thank you here for choosing me to do your hair. So this is just a little gift bag for you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It was so nice to get to know you.
You too, very much.
Do let me know if you have any questions or concerns about your hair. I always say that I'm here for you today while I do your hair, but also in the long run. So if you have anything that comes up, don't hesitate to reach out.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Great.
See you. I'm so pumped that you're ready to make a change in this industry with me and start changing the industry standard of communication so that we can have higher success rates, we can have happier clients, raving fans, people coming back to you over and over again. So many new clients that come see me and have this consultation say that they wish that someone would have taken this much time with them before. The only flack I've gotten was from other stylists saying, I don't have the time to give that longer consultation. This thing is, it saves you time in the long run. It saves you misunderstandings, miscommunications. It means that you have less people coming back for fixes and tweaks. It means that you have a higher retention rate because people are happier with their hair because you're understanding them better. So investing this time in the beginning when you first meet a new client can seem counterintuitive, but know that it's going to increase your success rate. It's going to give you a higher level of service. People are going to start talking to their friends about how different it is, how you do things, and how you give better results. And you are going to be booked solid with the best clients always.